Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from Bidamount.com and P.L. Combs Asian Art in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And today is April 12th, 2018. And in this video, I want to draw your attention to an auction that's taking place on the 28th and the 29th of this month over in the Netherlands, in Belgium. This is an auction being run by my friend Rob Michiels. There's 1,190 lots in this sale. This is a big auction. All right, and if you've never done business with him before, you might want to think about it. It's well worth it. He's got some great things coming up. And before we get into those items, I just want to quickly show you how easy it is to open an account here. You just go up here and you click My Account. It asks you if you want to open one. You put in your information, and that's it. Okay, it's pretty simple. And then on the day of sale, or as the days leading up to the sale, if you want to leave a bid, you click the live bidding button here, and it'll bring you over to this page, and you just register to bid for this specific auction. And you have to provide some identification, a license or a passport scan, and a credit card, all right? They need that up front, obviously, if you're going to be doing business with them. And just so you know, they handle, I talked to Rob this morning about a few things in the sale, and they do their own shipping. So that if you buy something from them, you're not going to get stuck with some massive shipping charge out of Europe. It's going to be probably close in the range what you pay for things if you buy stuff on eBay and you have it shipped from Europe. It's $50, $60 for an item, or maybe $150, $125 for a vase or something like that. All right. So don't let the distance scare you. You're not going to get a big shipping shock out of this. All right. And he mailed me a couple of PDF files. We made catalogs. They're up on the website. This is day one. This is for the 28th, and then there's another one for the 29th. And, of course, you can go to their website and take a look at it. It's a very simple website. If you just Google Rob Michiels Auctions, you'll find it. But it's rm-auctions.com, okay? And this is the site. And you're going to find this site extremely navigatable, extremely easy to use. One of the things he does that's terrific is that as I said, there are 1,190 lots in this sale, and it's 50 pages, and nobody wants to search through 50 pages all the time. So he gives you the option up here. You can look at some highlights in the sale. You can look at just the Ming and transitional pieces in the sale, which there is a lot of. The Qing Dynasty in general, Kangxi pieces only, Yongzheng pieces only, Qianlong pieces only. There's some Japanese things we're going to take a look at, paintings, and so forth. So it segregates everything for you so you can look quickly, find what you want, and then when you find something you want, it's very easy to add to your list of things you're interested in. For example, if you're interested in this pair of this Tongxi market period dishes, you just look at it and you click Add to Favorites, and it puts it on your account for you. So you can come back to it quickly. You don't have to go digging around for it again. Okay? Very, very, very easy. All right. In which they've really embraced technology over there. All right. And to bid on this, you can bid through some of the other sites that you all know about: Invaluable, Live Auctioneers, Sales Room if you're in the UK, that kind of thing. Or you can bid right on this site and save yourself some commission money. Okay. You'll save 3 to 5% by just bidding straight through the site, or by telephone. They do take phone bids, or go to the auction yourself. All right, and this is just the section here on Ming and transitional pieces. There are pages of it. There's 4 pages of Ming and transitional wares. Some great pieces. Lots of photographs too. They take really good pictures, and there's lots of photographs of everything. All right, you have to give you some idea, like this Kangxi dish, and you can blow it up by clicking on the image, and you get a real good look at it. They use excellent lighting, very simple. And then come over here. Here is the page of all the Qianlong pieces. All right, lots of Qianlong examples, including armorial pieces. And there's this piece. I don't think that dish is actually Qianlong. He's got it as Yongzheng Qianlong. I think it's pretty clearly Yongzheng period. Beautiful plate, and we'll look at that a little later. But he's somewhat conservative on his dating. Just bear that in mind when you're looking at things. There's 7 pages of Qianlong, fine Qianlong material on here. There is a lot of very good bronzes. There's several pages of bronzes, I think 3 or 4 pages. And they run basically from the Tang or a little after right through the 19th century. There's some nice Sung bronzes like this one. and so forth in the sale. And all this stuff comes out of local estates and collections, so it's pretty much all fresh to the market stuff from what I can see. And he had things like this big transitional jar. It's a nice one. It's 41 centimeters tall, and he's got a pile of photographs about it, showing you any slight blemishes or anything wrong with it. They're happy to provide condition reports. All right, and you move along to here. This was something that caught my eye. This is a really nice transitional period Chunji pot. And it seems to me I saw one virtually identical that was in the Butler collection, and it's inscribed. It does have a hairline in it, but this is a rare piece of porcelain. It's really, really nice. I was glad to see that in there. And then you have these, if you like early bronzes, a nice pair of Qianlong Qilins. And these are good size. In the photo, the way they're done, they almost look like they're maybe 2 or 3 inches long. They're actually pretty big. These are about 6 or 7 inches long each. So they'll display beautifully and very nice quality, all right? And there's also this Blanc de Chine in this sale. There's all kinds of stuff. And there was this very nice Kangxi bowl. I like this bowl with the immortal sitting on it. Good overglazed blue enamels, very deep, good color. And then you have these. This is interesting. I talked to Rob about these. There's 2 of these in the sale. I only got 2. They're not a pair, but they're pretty close. These transitional jars, very unusual form I'd not seen before, and with this very nice sort of garlic head arrangement on the top, and these very big elephant head and trunk handles looping down off the sides. Nicely done. The decoration is pretty standard sort of palette for transitional wares, but this form of porcelain I've not seen before. And these are about 7 or 8 inches tall. And here's the other one. This one is slightly taller. It's half a centimeter taller. But again, very similar palette and very similar design and shape. And again, with a well-known transitional period palette to it. All right, nice colors. Good looking thing. And this was one of my favorite things. I have a weak spot for old sort of, earthy carvings. This is old, nice old one. Probably Kangxi period. It's Soapstone Brush Pot. But beautiful quality carving, just excellent quality all the way around. And there's a minor nick on the top, but nothing too exceptional, nothing to think about. And it's about 6 inches tall, but that's a good example, a nice one. And they also use some pigments in it, which I liked. All right. And then over to this. This is another rare thing. Again, I talked to Rob about this this morning because I'd not seen one of these, and neither had he, but they did some digging. And if you scroll through the listing for this, you'll find this book shown, Global by Design. And this is from a Chinese collection that somebody had of Chinese export things. And in it were a pair of these. Here they are. And there's a good write-up on them. You can come over and learn about them. And these are naturalistically drawn tortoises. And they came into very much into vogue during the Qianlong period, doing animal forms. And whether or not Qianlong had one of these or not, I don't know. But I know that a lot of stuff was made for the amusement of the emperor, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if there was one of these somewhere in his own collection, because he loves stuff like this. And but this is just a terrific piece of porcelain and very rare. It has a white glazed interior. Here's the interiors of it, and there's the white lid, all right, underneath. All right, and then there's this nice-looking European decorated, but it's a Chinese rouleau vase, or sleeve. I call them sleeve vases. Transitional period, but very unusual color palette. Obviously, quite interesting. All right, and it's got some hairlines and whatnot, but it's still a nice thing. It's a rare thing. And then this somewhat elongated bladder form vase with a garlic neck on it, and it has dragons, 2 opposing dragons in the pearl, going around the outside. And the dragons on this are very much like the dragons you see done on Wan Li and Chai Ching pieces. All right, and this happens to be a transitional one. It's 23 centimeters tall. It's a good size, very presentable size. A nice looking example, nice piece. And there's this jar. This is quite a jar. And this is, again, there's one, I believe, like it in the Butler collection, or was in the Butler collection until half of it got dispersed, or is being dispersed. But this is a beautiful pot with a kiln on it. The jar itself is just a little under a foot tall, but overall, including the stand and the lid, it's about 37 centimeters. So it's a nice presentation side, and it's in good condition. It's a nice looking piece. There might be a couple of glaze crackles, glaze lines in it, but nothing much. All right, beautiful piece. And we'll slip over to here. Here's one of the Japanese things that caught my eye. This is a really great. I've seen a lot of these Japanese Arita dishes done in the late 17th century, around 1680 to 90. But this one struck me because it had such a beautiful use of cobalt. The cobalt blue on this is just so deep, just beautifully done. Really luxurious the way they poured that on there. In good and clear blue. It's not purple in tone. It's just a nice sharp blue. This is a charger. Technically, it's over 12 inches, 33 centimeters. Nice looking plate with a reasonable estimate. So if you like early Japanese Arita, you might check that out. Or this early piece of a deer plate. This looks, as you know, these looks very similar to some of the stuff they made in China to ship to Japan. This one is a Japanese example. Beautifully done with the spotted deer. And the photography on this is so sharp, you can actually see the crackles in the glaze, which you typically see on these early pieces. All right, and that's a nice looking plate. Again, very reasonably estimated. 500 euros, a low estimate. Quite an unusual piece. And there is some Kakiemon. If you're a Kakiemon buyer, there's some really nice milky white glazed Kakiemon in this sale. Here's the interior of this lotus form bowl with the brown dressing on the rim. Here's a side shot of it. Nice quality enameling, nice early enameling. You see how it peels back slightly white along the edges there, nice and translucent. And you have this teal blue against a sort of darker cobalt blue, outlined in black. Very nice all the way around. And that's in here. It's a good sized dish too. It's about 7 inches diameter. Good sized bowl rather. So if you're into Kakiemon, you want to check this out. And the other thing that caught me was this pair of teapots, Japanese Arita, 17th or 18th century, but unusual in the use of cobalt to cover most of it with gilding, very much in the Chinese manner. But then they did these wild molded relief insert panels on the ends with flowers and a rooster or cockerel. Okay, and they're in the sale. Those are rather interesting. And then on to some of the other pieces that are here. This vase caught my eye, and I wish I was over there to look at it carefully. He has it in the catalog as 19th or 20th century. Like I said, he's pretty conservative. And boy, I looked at this and I thought, what a vase. And blew it up and pulled in some of the detail. Again, with the kids, sort of reminiscent of the 100 Boys, but all these children carrying banners with fish on them and so forth. But the quality of the decoration on this just struck me as being awfully good for late 19th century. And here's a picture of the bottom of this particular vase with a Jaiqing mark in the bottom of it with this V-shaped foot. Very smooth, obviously, very creamy, and slight few speckles here and there on the turquoise. If I were over there, I'd really want to look at this carefully because he won't say it, but to me, this looks like it might be a period vase. And awfully good quality. We'll find out when the sale happens because the estimate on this was fairly reasonable. All right, and then there's a pair of these. These are nice big. There's a lot of pairs of jars and vases in this sale. Many jars and vases. I've never seen so many vases in one auction in my life. The whole front end of the sale is full of vases. So if you're looking for vases, check it out. But these were in there. I thought these were elegant, and I love the turquoise handles. This bright turquoise handles accentuating the piece with these two dragons in gilt. Just really lovely. And then there's a pair of Qianlong dragon dishes, mark and period. Very pretty, very well done. And they have pictures on the side of the marks and the foot rims on the back. And then you have this late Ming transitional period wine pot with a nice square handle on it, nice early one, and beautifully decorated. The palette, the cobalt used on this, nice and soft, very soft and gentle. The way the shading goes into the bamboo leaves here, and the way the branch is done, and so forth, somewhat reminiscent of how they ended up doing sort of the edges of things on Kangxi pieces not much long after this, and the way these birds are painted, just beautifully done. And again, another a well-known type of export transitional piece. These flagons or tankards with tapering inward and then slightly flaring at the top. Nice big handle on it. And then this nice jar. I like the jar because it's got this interesting circle pattern here with these within it these diapers, these different diaper patterns in different colors, centered by a lotus blossom. I thought this was lovely, really nice looking jar. And then there's a set of garniture. These are around 12 inches tall. Nice looking garniture set, obviously for export, and a complete garniture set. You don't see them very often, and they're a good size, 12 inches. All right, and then there's a Femiver Yen vase, Kangxi period, and then you have this big jar. This is quite a jar. This is 25 or 28 inches tall, as I recall. Rob mentioned that it had a repair somewhere up in here, which is pretty typical on these, so don't let that throw you too much. They're still valuable. They're still rare because they're so big. And this one looked like it has nice scenes decorated within these. You can see these panels, these cartouches, the way they're done interspersed with flowers. Really nice, really nice. And then you have this, another yen vase. This one's a court scene. At the top, you have women in a sort of a circular thing going around in a terrace scene, but inside is a court scene with female attendants and people waiting and talking and whatnot. Interesting pot. And a really unusual Dalsai Kangxi period. It has a Chenhua mark, but it's Kangxi period in Dalsai enamels. It's quite unusual. It has a little bit of fritting and whatnot around the rim here, as you can see, but highly unusual palette for these. Compared, most of 99% of them out there are in cobalt. All right, and there's that very nice Kangxi plate again. I like this plate a lot. I like the shape of the rim on it, and the butterfly, the insects, and so forth. And then you have this. This is very powerful looking Kangxi dragon Kirin plate with a phoenix above them up here, and nice use of overglaze, very deep blue, almost purple, in the rim and so forth, doing these floral pinwheels, these flowers, so forth, and they're surrounded by ruyi heads. Nice looking plate. It's a big one. And again, you have this. You have a nice big Yongzheng charger, armorial piece. Yongzheng early Qianlong, somewhere in there. Nice piece, though. Beautiful quality. And here's another one. This one, very much in the European style. They probably had a European thing to copy from. It's an armorial. It has a monogram up here, but with cherubs, okay? Because there was a lot of interaction between the French and the Europeans, and their art integrating in with Chinese art, and that's just an example of it. As is with this big, tall, octagonal coffee pot or chocolate pot, beautifully done with ball feet, probably for the Dutch market, European market. Lovely example, and a nice little compressed form Kangxi teapot or wine pot, with precious objects around it and Buddhist symbols and so forth. Nice looking thing. I love the handle and the spout. The spout is very proud on this, the way it comes right up and it lines perfectly with the handle. It's just well done piece of porcelain. And there are stacks of dishes if you're looking for good Kangxi plates and whatnot. There are a lot of plates in this sale too. Lots of good top quality plates, dishes, and bowls. And you have a kendi, a Wanli kendi, frog form kendi. A couple of these have turned up lately. And a Wanli jar, one of these big jars, a well-known type. Usually these typically run anywhere from 14 to 16 inches. I think this is right about in there from what I remember. And this is my favorite big jar of the sale. And it's not the most valuable, but I love the decoration on this. This just knocks me out. I love the way this is done. The landscape on here is painted very much almost like a Sung painting. Very reminiscent, the way the land just falls off and thins into nothing, just flowing down. Just a really lovely big jar with these mask handles. And it's late Ming, but really interesting. And here's that plate again. He had this, I think he listed this as Qianlong. I think this is pretty clearly a Yongzheng plate. Beautiful famille rose enamels, very fine quality all the way around, just a great thing. And then he had this bamboo, faux bamboo Chinese export Qianlong squared teapot, circa 1770, somewhere in there. Really nice quality, and they had the little chain added to it and so forth, but top quality piece. And pronk dish. There's a bunch of stuff in here that's pronk inspired. And you want to look at it. There's 5 or 6 lots of it anyway that I can think of, including a very nice, well, this teapot. Quite an unusual teapot with this fishnet pattern and these sort of European flowers going around it with butterflies, okay? And these volutes coming up in the handle and so forth. Just a really attractive pot. And a very nice tureen. There's a couple of these in here. And then, as I mentioned, there's a lot of plates. Here's a selection of plates. This is one lot. Mostly Yongzheng or maybe early Qianlong on one of them. All right, and there is a cane handle collection. All right, early 18th century cane handles. There's a whole bunch of them here, and there'd be a nice collection of interesting things to study. And again, more great-looking plates in blue and white, matching pair. And again, you have this Yongzheng reticulated hanging basket in porcelain. Very unusual. These are quite rare. They don't turn up very often at all, because you can imagine these chains and everything get broken so easily. And another pair of big hot water hot pots. They don't have their lids, but meant for for food. But you can see the handles where the wire handles would have once been the holes, and very nicely done. And then you have this. Rob was telling me that this particular pattern was first done probably by the Dutch, and they sent the Dutch example over to China, and they made a Chinese export Qianlong plate using the pattern. It's this looks like a 1770s piece of blue and white, and but really unusual pattern with fish on it. I've never seen that. And again, more Kangxi pieces, big Kangxi guglet, big jug pot. Most of these that you see in this form are Japanese. They feel this one is Chinese Amari. And again, more Amari, more Chinese export for the European market. Then you have these beautiful ivory pieces. As you know, if you're in the U.S., you can't bid on these because you can't get them into the United States anymore. But if you're in Europe, knock yourself out. And here's a nice pair of early 20th century ivory carvings with pigment, but really outstanding workshop quality. Really good. And then again, as I mentioned, lots of vases and jars, good ones too. A lot of 19th century rose medallion, rose mandarin. Here's some more of them. Here's some more of them. Okay, these are all great. And here's a gilt Buddha. Now you've seen these many times in white. Well, here's one that's been gilded. Okay, quite unusual. And here's another seated figure, Kuan Yin, and beautiful soft vermeil rose enamels. Here's another figure, okay, for the Tibetan style, and some look to be Ming style or Ming. All right, I don't remember what the description on these was. Okay, and then there's a couple of lots of Samson in this sale. Not a lot, just a few, because a lot of people like them, and they're very Chinese looking anyway. But these nice bronze mounts on them. Often you can spot Samson because they have these oversized handles on them. They tended to go a little crazy with the handles. And then you have this nice pair of 18th century Indian market or Middle Eastern market ewers, but beautifully done on copper, excellent quality, and it's a pair. It's a pair. You don't see these very often. And there's a nice tablet, and there's a piece of Yi Xing that's been ormolu mounted with enamel decoration. That's quite unusual. That's really a unique sort of thing. And another piece of Yi Xing, a rounded side, squared, footed teapot, but beautiful quality with relief work. And then you have this nice turquoise glazed figure of the boys. These are probably joss stick holders, but nice quality glaze, 19th century, I would guess. And then you have this lotus petal decorated 18th century dish with the pod and everything in there. Beautiful quality. And here's a double fish sung celadon. And there are other celadons in there. There's quite a few celadons. I'm just showing you a couple. And then you have the brown glaze or cocoa glaze Qianlong Marken period bowls. There are pictures of the base and rain marks on the site. Oh, they're right here too. I guess I forgot they were here. All right, here they are. And a nice piece of jade. There's several good pieces of jade in here. This is one of them. Love the handles on that. And there's the duck jade, beautiful carved, nice, well-known type, and a little stand, wooded stand. a Sung bronze. All right, if you like Sung bronzes, here's one. And it's got this archaistic low relief work around the top of the neck, typical Sung pieces. And 18th or 19th century bronze with some colors and patination with chimeras and this low relief setback panel in it. And this Tang, or maybe later, gilt bronze on a lotus of a Kuan Yin on a lotus base. And a nice piece of lacquer. There's a couple of pieces of very good lacquer. This one particularly striking. Some cloisonne, all right. More bronzes, more cloisonne. A very good Jiajing early 19th century dragon robe. Zitan brush pot. A very fine ladies' carrying set with marble inserts. And a Ming table, all right. And that's about it. There's a lot more. You have to go through it. There's 1,190 lots, and this video's gone on a bit long because there's so much stuff to talk about. But it's quite a sale, and I would suggest I'll put a link here on at the bottom of the video here, so you can go right to his site and take a look. He's very excited about the auction, and I think you're going to find some nice things there. So check it out. All right, and I'll see you all later this week with the regular video. And good luck out there. Let me know what you think of this auction. All right. Bye-bye.